Hello and welcome, Exiles. I want to talk about one of my favorite builds in the past, which is Relic of the Pact Ascendant. This build I made in Lake of Calandra League, and I just had a blast with it. It's all about using the wand from Ultimatum, which Ultimatum's core now, so it should be more common, and it's probably one of the most satisfying skills I've ever played. This league, they're adding the Warlock Ascendancy, which I believe is a massive buff to this build's power level. I think it takes it up another level, and it makes me really want to make another variant of this and just upgrade it and push it a little bit past what it could do previously, which what it could do previously was quite good. It had insane DPS, it was quite tanky, and on top of that, it was just a lot of fun to play. Playing this Blood Mage type skill, I just really enjoyed a lot. Now, I went ahead and I made a bit of a POB to showcase you guys. I'll compare with the gear we have here and give you some context clues for what we're looking at here. But for example, previously in that Lake of Calandra POB, it had like 40 million DPS and 25,000 life. I've done a POB based on Warlock being in the game since the goated Fork developers they went ahead and added Warlock to PoB. Thank you for always keeping PoB up to date. They're kind of carrying the community right now, not gonna lie. And we basically more than doubled slash quadrupled our damage potentially, along with we can hit a new high, which is 30,000 plus life. Previously in Lake of Calandra League, I didn't have perfectly min-max gear, but I had pretty good gear. I had an amulet like this, 160 life, 78 crit multi, 93 attributes. That's a really good amulet. I had a ring with 200 life, crit multi, strength, and reduced life reservation efficiency. Now, if you remember Relic of the Pact, if you played Relic of the Pact, you might remember you had to do some tricky mechanics with specifically reducing your reservation efficiency to a certain number to get the perfect one-tick cast. That number is 92% reduced reservation efficiency. The way that works is if you have 92% reduced reservation efficiency and you have something like brutality plus crit damage plus second wind, which is your ideal links, that would give you a perfect one-tick cast where you click once, you only have to go through one cast, which for Relic of the Pact, it's a channeling skill that takes it's like 0.2 second channel time or whatever, and then you channel the stages up. The way it works is normally you'd be reserving like 5%, then 10%, then 15% of your life, and it like channels up, kind of like a flame blast. But if you get enough reduced reservation efficiency, you can have it instantly channel the max amount and just blow up in this big blood explosion, which is what you saw in those clips. 92% reduced reservation efficiency is the part where you can one tick cast and just boom, 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 one-shotting. Feels great. Now, the thing is, since Calandra got taken out of the game, hitting that 92% reduced reservation efficiency became a little bit more annoying. Now, currently in the game, you have to wear a helmet. You have to wear, I believe it's the Mana Guardian helmet. It comes with a reduced reservation efficiency on it. But point is, there's not a lot of sources of it, and it's awkward. With the new Warlock Ascendancy, you can get to 92% reduced reservation efficiency with actually a little convenient little tricks you can play. With this Ascendancy node here, Sanguimancy, this 50% increased reservation efficiency actually allows us to do something a little unique, which instead of having to wear that helmet, we can actually go for 2 Essence Worms and then get enough life reservation efficiency that we still get to 92% reduced. Because with 2 Essence Worms, that's 160% reduced reservation efficiency. And then if you add in the 50% increased reservation efficiency from this Ascendancy, and then you add in another 18%, which we get from these 2 nodes, which is 16%, and then 2% from 1 jewel, that takes us to that 92% node and allows us to one tick, which I think is quite a bit more convenient than the helmet, because the helmet's a pretty big slot to lose. Not only that, this league adds a few interesting items or interesting scaling mechanics, which is Crimson Power, which I believe is just stronger than the current way to do the build, which is using like a Calm Spirit and stuff. Normally, this character doesn't need a lot of sockets, and so Calm Spirit works well, but with Crimson Power, You can actually end up getting more flat life, I believe, by going like a strong ES chest piece. You can get to 800 ES realistically if you have triple T1 ES, and then you can take that further beyond if you get the 8% explicit defense tailoring or mod. Point is, as far as we understand, the Crimson Power will turn all the ES on your gear into flat life. So you get 850 life from this, you get 350 life from this, you get 200 life from these boots. And I believe it considers shields as well. POB is acting like it considers shields. Some people don't think it will consider shields. We'll see. I think armor, I think it just includes shields, but we'll see. You may or may not get 200 flat life from this. And then depending on what your gloves are, you can get life from there as well. Point is, I think it's a much higher life scaling than what is currently available in the game. I'm gonna cut this into the video because I forgot to cover it. Also, there is a new amulet, Untouched Soul. The build, I'm also planning to use this. We don't know how rare this is. Right now, the way I look at this amulet, I think this is going to be used by very, very few builds. I think this amulet most likely is, maybe it's rare, but I think it might be semi-common. We'll see. I think it'll be affordable. I don't know that, but my point is, I think very few builds can use it because most builds need the sockets. Relic the Pact, I think, is one of the few builds that can get away with very few sockets. And the idea is we would 20 quality it, so it would go to 48 life here. I'd had to like manually edit it because I didn't see the option to catalyst it. So that's why it says 48 life instead of the base 40. And then you'll notice on our skill section, we only have the 2 auras in our 2 essence worms. We have shield charge, faster attacks, vulnerability, frost link. Those are our movement, our 1 curse. And then you'll notice all we have are the supports in our wand. If you do some math, we have 17 unsocketed red sockets. And if you look at this item, 17 times 48 is about 800 plus flat life. That's a lot of life, and that's part of the reason we can get to such a high life number. I just want to cut this into the video because I forgot to go over it. Anyways, back to the rest of the video. And which that allows us to do is basically, you'll see on these gear pieces, I only have prefixes crafted just because I'm thinking about the flat life number. I'm not really, haven't set up this POB for calculating other stuff. Obviously, in the suffixes of these gear slots, we can do more things with that, but that's just a showcase of what the build can do in terms of what it can get to. Now, when I said I think the gearing is cheaper than it was previously, the min-max of this build had very expensive pieces. This amulet and this ring were not easy crafts. They required Calandra Reflection and hitting the exact correct mods and the reflection to get you the thing that you could use on your character. I think that is extremely expensive, and I think it's a lot more expensive than getting high ES chest pieces and high ES gear. Now, just to be realistic, this gear is crafted pretty well. I think in our configurations, let's go ahead and throw in minus 200 maximum life, because most likely we're not going to get to that perfect of EF's gear easily. I think if you start having like T2, T2, T1, that sort of style gear, that's pretty easy to hit with dense fossils. Let's be a little bit more realistic about it. So we take the level of our gear pieces down a bit, and then let's go ahead and maybe instead of, like, for example, on my Watcher's Eye, I gave my Watcher's Eye a double mod pride. Let's just say it doesn't have, I'm going to just say discipline. We don't have discipline, but make it a 1-stat Watcher's Eye, essentially. Take away the double damage. Make sure it's not a 2-stat Watcher's Eye. Now it's just Impale. That's more affordable. And then on top of that, let's go ahead and take the tree where we have right now, our Watcher's Eye is in here, and then we have the Reduced Reservation Efficiency Jewel, we have the Grand Spectrum. This thing would be expensive. We can cut that budget down. We can change things around. Let's go ahead and swap the Impossible Escape for the Watcher's Eye. Do that here. Do we have a Grand Spectrum in the tree still? Let's go ahead and swap that for the Rare Jewel, the Reservation Efficiency we were wearing before. I swapped it for the wrong one, but that'll work fine. And then we still have a Grand Spectrum. Let's swap that for a random jewel we had before as well. These have Reservation Efficiency, so we can't use that. I'll use our random Rare Jewel I made with a what's it called? I'm like spacing right now. Random jewel I made with, this would be like if you had a life jewel and then you just do like Reforge crit on a bench and you go for crit multi with spell, crit multi with multiplier. Okay, that should have, now we have no Grand Spectrums on the tree, and we took away the expensive Watcher's Eye, made it a lot more affordable. Now if we do that and we go ahead and we just like path our way to here, we're at level 95. Maybe we should grab a couple more points. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's say level 95 tree, whatever. Point is, we are still at 1, more life than we had before, 26,000 life, and 2, we are still more than double the damage. The POB of the character I just showed you, this build right here, this had about 40 million damage. This character is well higher than that. Oh, actually, let me make sure. I don't know if, yeah, I have, okay, I do have Pinnacle already spec. So yeah, point is, you could try to compare the two. I think this is way more affordable. I think this is way more affordable to do, and that's why I'm super excited about it. I also think the power scaling is way higher. I'm not 100% convinced that Entropic Devastation is the play. I think Impale feels great. Honestly, the thing is, Impale has some ramp time to it. So for the most things in the game, we're going to be instantly killing the enemies anyway. I think this will matter maybe in Ubers where you want to go Impale, but there might be a scenario where we still go Calm Spirit, we still go, let's go Rage, let's go fast. I might still end up wanting to do that. This character gets to so much life, we can still scale enough regen where Rage Sustain should probably feel fairly decent. I'll have to think about that, but that is some of the things I'm excited about. I'm going to answer one question I think a lot of people are thinking right now. What about your max hit? The funny thing POB does right now is it considers, so the way the build works is you'll notice in these clips, our HP pool is constantly going down and down and down. You can see the reservation kind of occur if you're paying close attention to the pool. Like if you look at it closely, you'll see the reservation occur. It's basically in this nanosecond window where if the enemy hits you at the exact right moment, they can have, they only need to hit you for this much. But that window is so small, it very rarely ever happens. But the thing is, POB doesn't account for that. And so in order to showcase what the actual max hit number is you have to take off the weapon here to give you a more accurate max hit. And these numbers still just are incorrect though. So I must have something messed up because the enemy would still have to hit you for 26,000 damage at least, and they have 14k max hit. So that's obviously not correct. There's probably something else I need to correct with this. I'm not sure what it is. Point is, the enemy has to hit you very, very hard to kill you on this character. The one annoying thing that can happen is that if the enemy hits you slightly hard, what can happen is you can get locked out of casting. Like if they hit you for 20% of your life, and your skill, you have to reserve 90% of your life for it to do that one tick cast. You just can't cast until it unreserves your life. And that will happen from time to time, and that's a little bit annoying. That's one of the downsides of the build. But for the most part, if you're worried about the tank of the build, I'm not sure how to get POB to actually show the correct numbers because they are much, much higher than this based on the actual life number you get to. But I don't know how to set it up in POB. I'm not that great of a POB guy, full disclosure, and I have never been one to really know how to set it up and get the right numbers and stuff like that. But point is, this character I'm really excited about. Warlock adds insane power to it. I'm not sure about these things. This is just something I randomly spec'd out. I don't know if that's actually like the right things to do. I have no clue on that regard. We don't even know what Dark Effigy does. I'm pretty sure if you're thinking Cannibalize Faith, I'm pretty sure this does not work with Relic of the Pact, as Relic of the Pact requires you to, it reserves life. It doesn't spend life. If this worked with Relic of the Pact, the damage would go to some astronomically unbalanced number. It wouldn't even make sense. So I could say with almost 100% confidence, this won't work with Relic of the Pact. But that's just that there. Anyways, I'm blabbering on a lot. Relic of the Pact is at a whole new power level and way more accessible than before. I think with the new Warlock Ascendancy, it makes it 1, more powerful, 2, more affordable, and 3, I'm gonna not league start it. Sorry, I'm gonna do it as my second build of the league. I'm very excited to do it as my second build of the league, and I'll probably make updates to it and videos on it. Anyways, I just want to make this video to get people excited about it because I'm excited about it. Anyways, I'll leave the POB in the description, and I hope you guys have a good day and enjoy your league starts. Peace out, Exiles. Take care.